Hi there, Matthew. I'm Evan. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So just before we start our session today, I'm just going to go over the confidentiality form with you.
Okay.
Pretty much I'm just going to read right from here just so we have a full understanding. And if there isn't anything that you understand, feel free to ask me any questions at any time, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty, so Durham College Counseling Services is a free voluntary program that provides individuals with one-to-one personal support from a student counselor in training who is currently studying in the Addictions and Mental Health program. If you agree to participate in this service, we commit to do our best to try and assist you in working towards any goals you identify. However, please understand that while most individuals do benefit from our service, there are factors we cannot control. We cannot control for, and therefore, we cannot guarantee your circumstances will improve. The length of involvement in this service is your decision. We will commit to continue working with you as long as you feel it is being helpful. In addition, your involvement and the information shared with your student counselor in training is confidential, meaning he or she will protect your personal information in all cases, except the following. A release of information form has been signed by you, allowing personal information to be shared with a particular person, agency, or organization. B. Information or a student counselor in training is legally subpoenaed to the courts. C. You are suspected of being a risk of harming yourself or another person. D. Any situation of suspected child abuse, neglect, or domestic violence in the presence of a child will be reported to the local Child Protection Service. E. Report of being sexually abused by a regulated health professional, for example, a psychiatrist or doctor. By signing this form below, you are indicating that you have read and understand all of the above information, discussed and resolved any concerns, and are providing your informed consent to participate in our service. You have any questions or anything at all?
No.
No? All right, so I'm just going to get you to sign this real quick.
There you go.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so Matthew, what brings you in today?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. So if there's like aspects or things I say that you just want me to like elaborate on, just let me know, because it's just one of those things I've always had trouble to put into words of what's going on. But pretty much like I am in college right now. I'm 27, but when I like kind of like in grade 7 is when I started to have like issues with like OCD started like really coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want me to tell you what caused it to be triggered, I can we can talk about that too. But since like grade 7, there's been like multiple different themes of OCD that have bothered me and come and go, and a lot of these themes have like stuck around for like years and just like constantly like worrying and doing compulsions around whatever particular fear it was. But my biggest concern though is that um it's good that I've kind of like learned like to better manage the OCD through like exposure and response prevention like therapies I've been to. But one thing I've never really addressed is like my substance use issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a big part of like my substance use issues is like since I'm already very like compulsive and impulsive from my OCD, that compulsivity and like being impulsive kind of goes into like other aspects of my life as well, which is one of the big ones is drinking alcohol. I have been doing well since like September 22nd to like stay away from alcohol after like hundreds of attempts.
Mm-hmm.
And so far it's been going well, but I'm just always like fearful though that if easily giving in to going back to something that just felt, I guess you could say, like like a behavior I was like found some sort of comfort in. Even though it was like really bad, and like really a lot of negative consequences. So and then but yeah, and then I recently had a slip up with marijuana after 3 years and 3 months of not smoking marijuana. I had like a slip up, like I quit alcohol, and then I kind of like substituted for weed. And I had like I was just kind of like, oh, maybe it'll be different this time, because like marijuana and weed like did not vibe at all. It was like awful. And also like manic episodes, like it would trigger like manic episodes in me. So that's why like I initially quit, but then yeah, I had to slip up with that. I haven't smoked weed though in I went back to it for like over a month, but I haven't smoked in like over a week now. So I'm trying to stay away from that again. And that's just my two biggest concerns. It's just with substances. It's like I don't mind being sober. Like I think there's a lot of like beauty in being sober, but at the same time though, I feel there's a lot of like aspects of altering your consciousness and like mindset that's like very appealing to me, and I very quickly fall into abusing. I can't really do moderation. It just never works for me. It's just like with everything I do, it's like all or nothing. So yeah.
Okay. So I just want to start by congratulating you on being sober from alcohol from September 22nd.
Yeah.
That can't be easy, especially with how you kind of talked just very briefly about your history with substances. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Sorry, just give me 1 second here. So even with the fact that you felt good being sober, you still continued to use marijuana at that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I haven't in a week though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. That's another thing too. A week sober from weed. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, like when I went back to smoking weed though, it was like full blown back at it.
All or nothing, right?
Yeah. Just every day, smoking weed every day, all day. Luckily, it only lasted for like a month, and then I was just like, I knew like as soon as I went back to it, like I had a horrible time, but I knew like right away that I was like back in the hole. Luckily I didn't fall as far as I could have, but I still fell in pretty deep. It was just kind of to get myself out of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's other substances too, that have been in my life and stuff, but I don't really find too much of a problem with them at the moment.
Okay.
It's more so alcohol and marijuana, because like those two have like a severe negative impact on my life. And when those two things are in my life goes in a complete wrong direction. Okay. And then when I don't have them in my life, everything starts to go better. But even like with OCD goes better too, because I have like better like mental clarity, and I just like my mood's like just in general better. But it's just this like worry though, because it hasn't been that long, right? Like alcohol's only been like 2 months, and then marijuana's been a week, right? So it's like scared of falling back. Yeah.
Okay. So just to kind of clarify, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. You said that when you are using, your life kind of goes in a direction you don't want it to, and then when you're not using, life kind of goes in a better direction. You feel like your OCD is better, and you just feel like your concentration is better, and you're a little more there mentally, right?
Yeah.
So when you say it's not going in, like when you're using it's not going in the right direction, what do you kind of mean by that?
Well, like for example, like it's the same for both. Like when I have alcohol in my life or marijuana or both, but like let's just say alcohol for example, it's like I'm like pretty much like intoxicated all the time. Yeah, and it's like, and then that like really affects my day-to-day living, because there's so many things I just can't do because of drinking. Okay. And the worst part too is that like I have like very like pretty much no control over it. So it's like I'll know that I have something to do later in the day at like 6 p.m. But I'll already be drunk by like 3 p.m.
Okay.
So then I have to like, postpone things or cancel things, or stupidly still go do it and take a big risk. You know? So yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, same with marijuana.
and same with marijuana.
Yeah.
So it's more so um, like the side effects of drinking. That's the like pushing you in the wrong direction. So like your personality kind of changes when you're on alcohol. Is at least the message that I'm getting from you.
Yeah.
Right?
It does make me like angry too, and
Okay.
like not aggressive in the sense to like hit someone or attack someone, but yeah, I get like triggered very easily. You know, I get like super annoyed.
Okay.
Yeah, very easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there like particular things that you think about when you're drinking that get you angry or annoyed, or it's just
I don't even
situations?
feel, I don't even feel good when I drink.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very very rare that I will drink and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Like 95% of the time when I drink, it's horrible.
Okay.
And like that's like one of my biggest problems is that despite it being horrible,
Mm-hmm.
I still choose to do it, and I do it way too often and like way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Same with marijuana. I don't feel good when I smoke weed either.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me feel like garbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Anxious, like then like depressed, like panic attacks from both as well.
okay.
Yeah, like drinking or not even mixing them. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm saying like doing them separately. Like
Yeah.
they both like trigger like panic attacks in me. Like my heart's like literally racing. I can't sit still. I'm like pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Literally feel like I'm dying from like a heart attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that kind of fits into like you kind of mentioned, like you fall into this hole, right?
Mhm.
So it's the all or nothing. It's the personality that you have. It's the physical effects and the side effects of the alcohol. All of that puts you into that hole.
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time, you said you kind of found comfort in it,
Yeah.
right? So what does that comfort look like?
I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. It's like it goes back to like the weird thing about my brain where I do find a lot of beauty in being sober,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time though I find it like very appealing to like alter my consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to like change my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and you know whether it's for good or for bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that part doesn't matter to me. It's just like the idea of like altering my consciousness is like what's appealing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like just altering consciousness, like what is that to you, and like what are you looking for from
I think it's like more of like an escape,
that? Okay.
you know, from other stuff going around me, but it's kind of contradicting because I feel like it's more of an escape for like other things in my life, like the biggest one being like OCD
Mm-hmm.
and like my struggles with that. But then like in return though, it like it's contradicting because it just makes everything worse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, biggest problem of mine is I do things without like really understanding why I do it, because most of the time it just makes me feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why do I do it?
And I mean that sounds like it's a combination of both, like having that addictive side and your OCD as well, right? They're both kind of feeding into each other, right? Okay, so so in all honesty, like what it sounds like to me is like you think that you find comfort in it. You think that there's something there, but in all honesty, like what you're saying to me now, it doesn't seem like there's too much comfort there for you when you're using substances.
Specifically those two.
Okay, so alcohol and weed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one other substance I use that I think helps me though.
Okay.
Yeah. It's magic mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah. And like a couple of other psychedelics, but I say magic mushrooms is like the main one.
Okay. And so what is it about mushrooms compared to everything else that helps you?
Like for example, ever since I like quit alcohol
Mm-hmm.
for like my 100th attempt on September 22nd, I've been like kind of experimenting more with like the magic mushrooms, and most of the time it goes well. I did have like one horrible trip though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the worst time of my life. I just thought I was like literally never going to be the same. And then finally I came down from it, and then I just like despite it being a bad trip, it was like I had this whole new like outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like kind of gratitude for life and like grateful for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get that too from you know, when I have good trips on magic mushrooms. It's like the same effect. And also, I try to do magic mushrooms as like, you know, I wish I was doing it more with like in a controlled setting with like a professional.
Okay.
But you know, even when I do them myself, though, I still try to make them as like therapeutical as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I go into it like the intentions of like doing these deep dives on my OCD and
Okay.
like, you know, like discover, you know, more about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I come out of it honestly do feeling like obviously not perfect, but I do feel like better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like have like so much more insight.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I noticed that these magic mushroom trips kind of reinforce my like desire to like want to continue to like stay away from alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time though, it's like, you know, I still get the cravings sometimes. Been doing already getting over the humps, but I'm just still like essentially just scared to like falling back to alcohol and marijuana and like maybe potentially other substances that are not good for me, because from my history, it's with all the other attempts I've had to like quit,
Mm-hmm.
it's very likely that I could also slip up again, like how I have before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, we'll get back to that in a minute. But it sounds like a lot of the like the positives that you're getting from these magic mushrooms, you also get from sobriety and how you describe sobriety. So when you're sober and when you're in your sobriety, what like tell me about it. Like how do you feel?
I mean, I feel like definitely like I'm still like very anxious
Mm-hmm.
and like depressed about some things, but I definitely feel like I'm like I would say I'm definitely like a little bit like less anxious.
Okay.
Like I feel like I'm like more like better equipped to like deal with
Okay.
like the intrusive thoughts that I
Okay.
get, and like, you know, and to like not fall into like compulsive behavior because of them,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of be more so okay with like sitting with like my discomfort
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing compulsions to relieve the discomfort, even though it's very temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, though, it's just like something about not being sober I like too,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like, you know, that's like the nice thing about mushrooms too, is because like it doesn't really have like that addictive component for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being sober though, I don't really know. It's just one of those things. It's I do like the clarity, like the mental clarity and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time though, I find it very hard to like manage being like, you know, like even the thought of being like that for like a long time, for like years to come, like
Mm-hmm.
is a little difficult for me to wrap my head around.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So pretty much what I'm getting from you right now is like your use with substances. It's all for an escape,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, right? You like that aspect of escape. Whether you end up in a positive or negative space, right? It's that wanting to escape from something, but you're also searching for something.
Yeah.
Right. You want to learn about yourself and get to know yourself better.
Yeah.
Right?
But I'm only capable of doing that though with the mushrooms.
Okay. Because you just told me that when you're sober, you're able to sit with your thoughts and you're able to think, right?
Better.
So yeah, exactly. So like if I could just kind of get you to picture for a minute, like doing, because you're doing these deep dives when you're on mushrooms, right? And you know, I just want you to picture doing those deep dives without mushrooms in your life, right? Without alcohol or weed or anything like that. Like, do you think that's something that you'd be able to do? Because it sounds like you already do it, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've never really tried that part, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the something about, you know, especially like when like a magic mushroom trip goes good.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about, you know, like the chemical releases in your mind that kind of makes it a little bit less fearful
Mm-hmm.
to like explore those areas,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to being like sober.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still try to like when I'm sober. It's just a lot more uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's a bad magic mushroom trip, I don't really have an option. I just
Okay.
toss right into hell.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it's just a level of comfortability with yourself.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're kind of like when you're taking like a trip, right? I guess maybe we could put it to like a roller coaster. Like once you're on it, you know, you can't stop it regardless, right?
Yeah.
And you have to go through that uncomfortability. But with the sobriety, right? You said it does kind of sometimes feel a little uncomfortable to sit there, but at least with the sobriety, right? When you're sober, when you're thinking about it, you would be able to do things to get your mind off of it, right? And you already said too, like you've had, what was it, September 22nd that you got sober? Like, you sounded very proud of that when you came in, and that's a great aspect too. Like even though you've only had a week without weed, that's a week without weed that you didn't have beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like you've already tried to kind of learn about yourself without these things in your life, right?
Yeah.
Now, besides all that kind of stuff, like what do you do to like occupy your time?
I've since I quit alcohol, I've been going a lot on like walks.
Okay.
Like long walks too.
Mm-hmm.
I say I average maybe like 8 kilometers per walk.
Okay.
That's been helping a lot. It's been helping me to lose weight too.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of interests, like music and like Manchester United.
Mm-hmm.
I try to like play a little bit of video games. I try to hang out with people that have like my best intentions in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just like stuff like that.
Okay.
Man.
Just gonna write something quick here. So walk. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a big walker too. I just live out in a small town, and they have lots of places to go walk, and I love being in nature and getting that fresh air in your face, and it's such a nice thing to go on walks, eh?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. So do you do these things sober?
Most of the time,
Okay.
I guess you can say. Sometimes on a psychedelic, typically mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like not too often though, because I do try. Like if I do like magic mushrooms and go for a walk, I take like a very small dose.
Okay.
For like safety reasons, because I don't want to be out in the world.
Okay.
Tripping hard. I leave that more so for when I'm at home.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll go take like just like a little bit, just to have like a enhanced mood. Maybe like sounds are a little bit more enhanced, colors are more enhanced, and that's about it though. Nothing like crazy.
Okay.
And I don't want to be crossing a road on tripping.
It would be quite dangerous to be out in the out in the wild there.
Not good.
Yeah, while you're on a substance.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so now see, you just said that you wanted that enhanced mood, right? Seems like it keeps coming back to some type of like altered consciousness or enhanced mood. How do you normally feel without substances, like, or even with, just on a day to day? Forget that I said with or without substances. Just how do you feel on a day to day?
A little sad.
Okay.
I guess you could say like a little depressed, anxious. I mean, it's like I definitely like, my like anxiety, like OCD and everything is far worse when I'm like on marijuana or like alcohol. But just because those two things, like when they're not in my life, doesn't mean that it's like, my life is like way better. It's better, but it's not like way better. So then like that kind of like has an influence on me being like sad or whatever, and just kind of like falling back into like bad behaviors. Yeah.
Okay. So, would you say that like the moods that you feel, they play right into kind of your substance use, right? Whether it be alcohol, weed, magic mushrooms, right? Anything else. So when you're feeling low, that's when you want to use the most.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you get anxious about on your day to day?
No, it's just stuff going on in my head. It's like nothing that's like actually like even like, I know this sounds crazy, but like nothing that's actually like really like in reality.
Okay.
You know, it's like all of these like fears in my head that are like so like irrational
Mm-hmm.
and like very like unlikely to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But for me in my head, you know, even if it's like a 0.01% chance, it's still a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So always just reassuring myself or seeking reassurance and doing a lot of like physical and mental compulsions to you know, reassure myself that this won't happen or that won't happen or that everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of very exhausting and takes a lot of time and energy out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what I'm doing is like self-medicating.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just gonna write that word down, self-medicating. Um, so it sounds like a lot of your anxiety, like it sounds like the OCD plays into that too, right?
Yeah.
Now, what about you said that you're kind of sad on the day to day. So, has there been something going on recently that's been kind of making you feel that way?
Just kind of like more so not really having like that much control over my life in the sense of like struggling to like live in the present moment, you know, or like to like enjoy something fully.
Okay.
So it's like I'm always like just in my head, like checking things and doing things in my head for like reassurance.
Okay.
And like compulsions in my head.
Okay.
It's most of my I have a lot of compulsions too that are physical,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of them are also mental. So
Okay.
even when I'm like out, you know, like somewhere that I should be enjoying, like a concert,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know, even though I'm at this concert, I'm like in my head, I'm like really in my bedroom, you know, analyzing things, checking things online or whatever, you know, just doing, I'm like somewhere else in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sort I'm looking for here? Your compulsions. What type of compulsions do you get? Just to maybe help me understand that a little bit more. Because with OCD, I understand it's a wide range of things, right?
Yeah.
You know, could be cleaning, could be organizing, could be even just like having your there's got to be something in your backpack at all times for you. Like, what does that look like for you?
For me, it's like all over the place. I feel like OCD is like in all aspects of my life.
Okay.
So like even like reading something's very difficult for me because I have to like reread it a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
And like most of the time, it's never successful. I just like literally get to the point of like exhaustion. I just like accept it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for me to get to that point, it's like I first like exhaust like 40 minutes of like trying to get this thing just to feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, like I'm like worried that I said something inappropriate, you know, even though like I see that I did not, but then it's like constant doubt. You know what I mean? It could also be uh memories. Memories is a big one for me. Like real event, you know, it's called like real event OCD. And it's like, you know, like looking back at particular memories and just analyzing them, but like in a very unhealthy way. And it's like such a waste of time too, because it's like in the end, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like something that happened like 15 years ago, but I'm still stuck in that time. And it's just like, you know, like, you know, even like silly things like stitching in my clothing, wanting it to be like perfect and like checking and checking and checking. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, doesn't sound like that could be easy.
No, it's like there's a lot that I haven't explained. There's like it's like literally like in anything, everything has potential to me to ruminate and to worry about and do compulsions around. Yeah.
It also sounds like a lot of with this OCD, it's kind of allowed you to see that, like you kind of said, like the beauty in other things.
Yeah.
Right? Am I on the right track with that?
I agree.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I just feel like, you know, I feel like with the OCD, I think I hope one day I could get to a point where like I am capable of being more present and mindful and like living in the moment. And then if I do get there one day, maybe we'll see. If I do get there one day though, then I feel like I will take, a lot of aspects of life. I won't take it for granted
Mm-hmm.
as like where like other people do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like simply just maybe going grocery shopping and like being capable of like, you know, living in the moment, like being present, or maybe like simply just worrying about things that actually are worth worrying over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, it's like a bunch of like most of my worries are just like very irrelevant. But to me, though, they're like a big deal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, they say that don't sweat the small stuff, right? But I'm sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, it sounds like with everything that you talked about, everything from substance use, your OCD, and even like, being sober, all of that is work that you want to do, right?
Mm.
You want to put that work in, and like you sound like you're on your way. You sound like you've already started doing that work.
Yeah.
To reaching this goal of being able to see the world how you want to see it, right?
Mm.
And it sounds like you already also do see a lot of things in the world that are how you want to see it, right? You are on your way there.
Yeah.
So we are coming up to the end of our time, but yeah, there's a couple of things here that you mentioned that I'm going to look into for the next time. The real den OCD, very interesting. But do you, outside of here, aside from all of that, you said you like hanging out with people and you have friends and whatnot. Do you have any really close friends that you talk to and like have conversations kind of like you and I just had today?
Yeah. Yeah. Not a lot, but that I don't need a lot.
Mm-hmm. Fair
Got
enough.
like two. It's good enough.
Okay. Okay, you like quality then, right? Over quantity?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that's good.
Yeah.
So are these people that you would talk to, let's say if you did feel the urge to drink or smoke weed, would you let these people know?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, maybe not know that like beforehand, but if I like, even if I were to go back to like drinking or alcohol, marijuana, like they would definitely know because
Okay.
I would tell them.
Okay.
I wouldn't hide it from them.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, just because I'm wondering, like, when you're not in these rooms, right? I'm wondering what kind of support systems that you have. That, like, if you did end up going back to this, or like, let's say maybe you had this compulsion with magic mushrooms to use it, but you didn't really want to. I'm just wondering if you maybe had, like I said, that support system that you can talk to. So it sounds like you've got friends. Is there any family members that you can talk to as well?
Yeah. I guess my mom and my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty understanding when it comes to like OCD and my mental health and stuff. They've done a lot of research and just living with me, they've learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're challenging too.
Okay.
They challenge me not to do like they'll if they see I'm really struggling, they'll give in to like trying to satisfy me. But when they think I have a chance to not do the compulsion, they try to push me to not do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Just kind of motivating me to sit with the discomfort and to be okay with it.
Okay.
Instead of giving into temporary relief that lasts for like a minute until I just have to do it all over again anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that you have that support system.
Yeah.
So there's going to be something I'm going to suggest for you. And this is just a starting point. His name is Gabor Mate. Have you ever heard of him before?
No.
So he works in addictions and mental health, and he's got a whole bunch of books out there. There's one, I believe it's called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, and that just kind of works on the addiction side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest maybe giving him a listen. He's got videos on YouTube. I'm sure he's been on podcasts and stuff, but he's also got those books. So I would suggest checking that out if you're interested. Outside of that, was there anything else that you wanted to tell me about before we finish off our session? Anything else that you...
No, not really. I feel like I covered everything for this session.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's just a little matter of doing what I've been doing plus a little more
Mm-hmm.
gradually.
Yeah, like you said, like I had said earlier, like all of the things that you've listed, like there's going to be some work into it, but you've already put a big effort into almost every single one of these things that you mentioned today.
Yeah.
So it's just about carrying on with that, and if I can make a suggestion for you, just exploring some new things too, right? Talking to those people, your support group, right? You've got those two friends, you've got your mom, you've got your brother, that you can talk to about these things, and then also checking out, like I said, Gabor Mate would be a very interesting spot to, or a very interesting person to listen to kind of start you off there. Now, if you're ever interested as well, I can suggest some groups for you.
Yeah.
If you'd be interested, they're 12-step programs. They're not for everybody, but it might be worth checking out.
Yeah.
And listen to what they have to say about it as well.
Yeah.
If you ever want that, let me know, and I can get that information for you. Or you can just go online. Honestly, a quick little Google search will probably bring it up too. But I know a couple in the area that I would suggest for you. So.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, perfect, Matthew. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, see you next time.
Yeah. You're gonna edit the end. I just cut this part out.
Yeah, bro.